Once again, folks, it's time to don the detective cloak, get out the magnifying glass, and get on with some super juicy speculation from some data mining. And this time more of the champions and maybe some very prototype champions were revealed in the data files. And thanks to XLA who on Reddit gave some of their findings in the data files, and the data mine they've done themselves. Normally Smite data mine is quite quick on it, but they haven't come up with something just as of yet. But what's really interesting in this patch is the prototype champions and what they can do. So the first one that's got its own quirk is Stoker, and that could be a code name, so don't go off that. But what this champion does is it has some sort of wall running abilities. It has 1800 HP base, which is like Sky, and his speed, his base speed, is 420. Now, let's get the 420 blazer out of the way, all those memes, the memes, but that's quite an interesting concept, and Drybar actually said in one of his questions on Twitter that there was a champion that they were working on with wall running abilities, because a lot of people actually asked for wall running to come to Sky and some sort of movement ability for her, as she is one of the least maneuverable champions, at least vertically and going upwards, and has a hard time actually getting around and flanking people. The abilities themselves are very broken at the moment, but the main attack, the in-hand attack, is throwing dagger, so likely this champion currently is using knives. Displace, maybe a teleport, we don't really know. Then there's Shadow, gain 150% movement speed. So this is actually a lot like Maeve's movement speed. And it says that they cannot fire during this time. So maybe you sort of combo it with the wall running, go really fast. Whether or not you're invulnerable, who knows. And then finally drifting, you basically slow the speed at which you fall. But again, these are very broken abilities. We don't 100% know if these are right or how far along they are. The next one that I've already talked about, called Dark Lord, which we didn't know anything but their name, also has now been revealed that their in-hand weapon, so their left click, is called Inferno Blade and has a base damage of 450. Now, thinking this one through, is this a throwing blade, or because it seems to be linked somehow to Androxus, and because Dark Lord, we think sort of the Androxus sort of style. Well, actually, originally Androxus was planned to be this champion with a sort of blade slash spear thing, some sort of a glaive almost, in their in-hand alongside a pistol. Could this champion be somebody that has an in-hand weapon that's this Inferno Blade, this blade that slashes? Maybe because the developers have said that they didn't want a melee champion that basically only goes up to people and starts whacking on them, and Grover himself got changed to be ranged. And it could be that perhaps there's almost like anime or fighting game slashes that travel through the air and that you fire at enemies. That would be rather cool. But then again, all speculation, folks. What do you think? Be sure to just unravel your speculations as I go along through this video in the comment section below. The next one, another one that actually sounds a lot like a melee champion, is called Berserker. This one has 2,400 health points, and his in-hand, his left click again, does 680 damage with no fall off, and seems to have a firing rate similar to Grover's axe. The weapon itself is called Hatchets, some sort of throwing axe or something like that. Apparently his Q seems to make him fire faster, and his ult doesn't do anything from what they tested. His Bloodlust seems to make him fire faster. His F is Rush, which makes him go faster, like Maeve's Prowl, but only for 2 to 3 seconds. This actually sounds a lot like Troll Warlord in Dota 2. Troll Warlord gets faster attacking the more you hit an enemy, and has sort of a Bloodlust in how it makes them fire faster, and that Bloodlust could be similar to that. And also the Rush, he can switch between melee and ranged, and go faster when he's in melee, but in ranged it gives him more range. I mean, the hatches and things like that give me that sort of vibe with this champion, this Berserker. There are a few other things as well that might be in the works in the skin side. That's Pip, an alien skin. Will it be the skin that was in closed beta, because originally Pip's skin was blue, and he did actually look quite a lot like an alien, so maybe we'll see some sort of repurposed version of that coming back. Charlene, superhero. How would you make a superhero out of Charlene? I'm not entirely sure, but that could be quite interesting. Eevee Sugar Star. Are we getting a crossover with Steven Universe? Are we going to see some of the Crystal Gems styled Eevee? I don't know. Androxus Steampunk. It could be very cool to have a steampunk pistol in it, to be like firing off almost like a blunderbuss with cogs and things firing it off, and all little moving parts. That could be very cool. Buck Wrestler. I think that fits really well. I'm guessing they're going to have like a wrestler's mask and just some very tight-fitting wrestler attire for him. Then finally, Barrick Dark Dwarf. Dark Dwarf, what does that mean? He's just going to look evil. Or perhaps it's just a different take on Barrick with a black beard. Maybe like the Blackbeard pirate for Barrick. Maybe we'll see something like that. Finally, there's 3 maps pulled out the data mining: Rift, Triumph, and Tunnels. Now, the developers have been saying for quite a while there's one map that's coming that is filled with a bit of lore about one of the champions. Now, perhaps the Rift map could be something to do with Androxus traveling the Rift and the Nether Step. Maybe that could be something that they're working on. But then again, Triumph could be some sort of map that shows the story of Paladins and some sort of fight between champions and enemies, and maybe something to do with what's exactly happened with the moon and what happened with the world, but that's being extremely hopeful. Anyway, that's kind of what's been revealed by ZXLeo, at least on Reddit, and maybe we'll see some more in the Smite data mining coming up very soon. But I think these champion concepts are very interesting. What's everyone else's crazy, wild, maybe rational ideas for these champions coming up? Be sure to let me know in the comments section below. Let's get the ball rolling on the super spicy speculation. Anyway, as always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more of my content. I've been Joshino, and I'll see you all in the next video.